This is a presentation about the governance model that we have established here at FINES, and also some information primarily about how you can update certain parts of the portal based on your rights. And also later on at the second session we can briefly see some videos that we have prepared for the wiki, the FINESpedia, and the collaboration environment that we also have established, and most of you should be familiar, I think. So I start off briefly by explaining very lightly the levels that we have established in terms of accessibility, let's say. We have 4 different levels for the overall portal, the overall FINES platform. First of all, we have people from the Commission, or generally people who have the highest possible rights for administrating the portal. These are currently called cluster officials, and are currently featuring members from Intersoft and also members from the Commission. We have the level of project coordinators, people who are responsible for specific projects within the cluster. Consecutively, the same applies for people responsible for task forces, which is primarily the call for today. And finally, we have other people which can register in the platform with very, very limited capabilities, primarily accessing the FINESpedia wiki and so forth. So the structure of the portal is more or less familiar to you. I will just briefly say that for the purposes of today's meeting, I have created 3 different, let's say, test accounts, which will help us to show you very briefly the functionality. As you know, we have 14 task forces into the portal, and currently around 19 active projects from FP7 and FOF projects as well. So I have created a user called Task, which will be, let's say, for the purpose of this call, responsible for the business values and business scenarios task force, and also another user who is responsible for the adventure project. But we will focus on the task force first. So coming back to what I said before, the structure is more or less known. We have general hot articles, which are documents that have been lately uploaded into the system by the cluster officials or administrators in this case. Latest tweets from the FINES tweet site. Events, overall events, which have been uploaded again by the cluster officials, and some general RSS feeds. Finally, documents also appear here, which again are very specific documents, again for the overall platform. Now in the middle you can see some, let's say, latest news items. These are 5. And then at the bottom you can see some general information. Now the structure of the projects and task forces, you probably have visited that already. There's a new update here, as you can see. On the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, sorry, of the portal now, instead of having the general news and the general documents and the general events that appear also on the front page, we now have 4 sections which are currently empty, reflecting the news, documents, and events specifically related to this task force. So we are looking here to populate these sections in the near future actively by the task force leaders. Then you can see also the RSS feed. This is the general RSS feed that we have from various interconnected sites that we retrieve feeds from. We have initiated the task to update this with specific RSS feeds from the sites which have RSS feeds primarily for the projects. But this can be changed to some alternative that the task force leaders can provide to us. The same applies for the projects as well. This is the example. Projects have the same now structure. project news, project documents, and project events. Now the RSS feed here could be the RSS feed of the project site. Now going back to the to this section, what I'm going to show you now is that we log in with the task user. This could be your credentials. Currently, I have not established a connection between your credentials into the system and the fact that you're a task force leader and so forth, because we wanted this training to be over. We wanted to have some possible questions or clarifications, and then we want to have the final assignment between task force leaders and their specific task forces and so forth. So now I have logged in as a task force leader. Here's the specific menu. The menu has changed now, so this is a menu particular for me. My details are an entry which was there already. The same is for the access to the FInESpedia and logout, as well as the collaboration environment, which currently has one active document. Now, the three things that have been updated is the ability to submit a news item for the specific task force, submit a document again for the specific task force, and finally insert and manage events regarding your task force. Now, another thing which is quite important is the fact that if you go into your respective page, for instance, as I said before, I, as a task user, I'm responsible for the business values, business scenarios, and business models task force. I can now see the icon here on the top of the article, meaning that I can edit actually now the main information on my task force. Okay, these two menus, the task force menu and the FInES collaboration environment, are not visible to the simple guest user that just visited the site. Apologies for this. Let me just briefly close my email to have no more disturbances. So now I can only edit, as I said before, my task force information. If you see now, if I visit another one, I cannot edit this information. We need to have one person responsible from each task who will be the primary editor of this information. So in the case of this, I can simply click on this button, edit the article, and I move into an editor which features the existing information which we have placed since the beginning of the portal, which you can edit. Now, one thing that the editor should be, let's say, more or less careful is that obviously he is able to edit the whole page. We have followed a specific template, as you can see. We have a table that features a description and a scope of the task force, responsible project, participating projects, contact points, and so forth. Now, it is, let's say, important for us that the person who is actually editing the page has some basic knowledge of WYSIWYG editing on the web, and he's able to more or less follow this specific format. You can obviously change this information, update it regularly as you see fit, or even change some of the information that exists right now, which could be redundant. Okay, so now you have the ability to do that without asking us to change the page. Now, the rest of the information here can remain unchanged. All of these, let's say, articles are under the FInES cluster section and under the specific category of FInES task forces. This article is already published and it's not viewable from the front page. Some of the information is merely metadata. The article, if you want to keep it accessible to the public, it should only be accessible here by public. And some metadata you can provide, description, updated description of the keywords that can be used for searching the site and therefore finding this information much quicker. So I'm not changing this at this point. Now, we can go and see how we can submit a news item for your specific task force. By clicking on this button, we bring up a different kind of editor. who is able to allow us to insert information, news about our task force. Here we can provide a title for the item. The title alias can be left blank. The system can fill that in for you. And then we can select a category. Now in this case, I, as a task force leader, am responsible just for this one, so this is the only one available for me right now. I could be possibly responsible as a person for more than one, therefore more than 2 entries here would be active. So in this case I can only choose this one. I can provide some tags. These again are elements that can be utilized to help for the searching or associate one article with another. So here in this section of the news you can see one article, and then some of them can be actually connected with each other based on the tags we provide. Now this is if it's published or not. You can decide to create it and publish it straight away. And obviously again here we have the WYSIWYG editor, which is the tool that allows us to put the actual news in. Now we can also have the ability here to insert an image that we can choose from our local system or browse the server. These are the images that we already have into the system. Upload it on our system and use this image in your content. Okay, so this is another thing you can do. Or simply you can insert an image from this button here, but that means that you will have to use one of the existing ones that we have already in our servers. We have an image gallery ability, meaning that you can upload a series of images that can be seen on the bottom as, let's say, images from a specific conference you might have joined, or a specific workshop or session that you have had, and you can put a series of these images there, so the user can actually look at them as a sort of small slideshow. You can insert a video as well for, again, a session that you had, or embed it into the actual content. Now, finally, attachments, you can put some documents or things like that. Now, let's try to have a test news item for TF. Now, I don't want to populate the actual site. Now, another thing is that you have the ability also to insert tables if you want. So this is an extensive WYSIWYG editor. You can put page breaks, so you can have a long text and then by putting this read more section, then the details of the article are just showing from this point and upwards, and then the user can click read more and see more information about this article. Okay, and we can also try to insert a picture here. We could consider to have a different categorization here of the pictures. You can insert it here. You can also have a link here from this button here. You can select to have a link to an external URL on your site, or here you have a quick